This is the Idavox Report.
Well, I hope we are. Oh boy, we're shooting for the trees, y'all. I'm Daryle. That's Christian.
How we doing, folks?
And
This way.
It's a really good shot. I like it a lot.
This way.
All right, let's see if we can play with this a little bit here because we got serious things to discuss. And for some strange reason, my connection here at the office is not working the way it should, which is why we're doing this kind of fufukaka. But let's see. I mean, hopefully my laptop will work properly, but I'm Daryle.
I'm Christian.
Hi, everybody. Brian Powers, and I have a good connection tonight, so
That's how it goes.
Oh boy, let's see what we got here.
What the hell?
Let me get a higher chair.
No, let's get a higher thing. No, I know what we can do. We'll just sit it. Hold on.
Put it higher.
I wanna take you higher. Boom, shakalaka, boom. Oh, come on. If I could sit this up, prop this up. Oh. Let me move the phallic symbol.
We need a little picture of like a turkey with holding like a broken microphone that says,
Yes!
like, please excuse our technical issues. But we don't. Unfortunately, we don't have the budget for that.
Well, we're being propped up by Joel. Oh, I know what we can do. We'll use this thing. We're gonna go to.
Okay, so you're gonna switch over to your iPhone.
We're gonna go to the phone. We're gonna go to this thing, and and do it the hard way. But I'm gonna let you talk to Christian before we while I try to get things situated.
All right.
Well, I honestly, you're the man I want to talk. I'd love to have a minute with you on the air anyway, because we can talk about the interview we just did and hype that up. Because I got to listen to it, and for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Christian and I interviewed Nick Ramos, who does a podcast called The History of the Cuban Revolution. And, I got a chance to spend about a 45-minute interview with him, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I listened back to it, and I did have, again, some connection issues, and that's why we recorded it. There was only one flub, I think, but I don't know. Nick comes at it like a historian. I think I didn't, I don't know. Do you think I was too soft on him?
I think we were a little soft on him, but we don't want to chew people up. He was a nice guy.
No.
He agreed to come have the chat. I mean, he is, he's not a Marxist, right? He's not necessarily a socialist. He's not down in that way. I mean, he came across as a good guy. I think we had a great conversation. I don't think he necessarily understands context in the same way we do. I don't know if he's looking at it in the same way we are, but again,
he's Cuban,
different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I mean, he is. I mean, he's not. So people know. I mean, he's not a right winger or anything like that. I mean, he described himself as a social dem in the interview, and he did kind of say, like, listen, there's these progressive Cuban voices out there. They're just being drowned out in this country because everybody focuses on. I don't know that that's really true demographically. I think if you talk to a percentage of Cuban Americans, it does play out that they are right wing, but his historical context of this progressive Cuba that just was corrupt but had these progressive values, and that's why the right rose up. I think that gives good context, and it gives a good it helped my analysis of the American political view of Cuba. And that being said, I'm a white dude from New Jersey, and he was born and raised in Cuba for 9 years and has been in that community. So, You know, I really like, but we didn't. There were a couple parts where, like, maybe I don't know whether I jumped in because of the connection issue, or maybe I jumped in a little too early. You know, as we got into a little bit of debate, if you will. But that's not his bag, man. Like he's a historian. And again, you know, so people know out there, I want to promote him as much as possible because he was awesome. He came on the show.
Yeah,
we had a
I'm
great
really glad
talk,
he came on the show. It was really nice just to have a talk. I mean,
yeah,
I guess it'll get kind of boring if we're all just sitting around agreeing with each other. But, you know, like we said, he's not some right winger. He's not one of those people. He's very fair about the subject. And I think in a 45-minute conversation, I think we had a good talk.
Yeah.
So
have you had a chance
if you're checking this out? Give it a listen.
Have you had a chance to check out his podcast yet? Have you popped it up and listened to it?
I haven't listened to it yet. No, I had it queued up, but then, you know, work and life got in the way. But I have the one on the Moncada barracks, the attack on Moncada, which is what basically led to the 26th of July movement. And, you know, that's the one I'm looking forward to listening to. Yeah,
I binge podcasts, so he's got about like a dozen or so, maybe 20 episodes, somewhere in that range. And so, like, if you've got, like, if I'm into your podcast and you've got 12 hours out there, it takes me 12 hours to hear your entire podcast. I mean,
yeah,
I will, and I did that with him. I did the same thing, you know, with like the history of Rome and the Revolutions podcasts and some others where I literally just sat like every day. I was listening to that one for like 8 hours a day, man. I just sucked it in. So if you're a binger like me, it's about a day. It'll take you about a day to take in all his episodes. Maybe.
No, definitely. I would recommend it. I mean, you know, I guess in college, that was kind of how I, how I really, I guess, got into left-wing politics back as an undergrad. It was studying Cuba, the Cuban Revolution, and, you know, American and Cuban policy towards one another. And, you know, it's interesting. It's one of definite intervention. It's one of those issues where you'll hear Americans say, well, why do they hate us, quote unquote? Why do they hate us? Well, you know, you could look at American intervention in Cuba and a number of different countries, and this is why there's so much animosity towards the United States. Cuba, as I've said in the past, they are guilty of the same crime as Vietnam or, you know, a lot of these other smaller countries. They just want to run their country the way they see fit. And they don't want foreigners telling them how to do it. They don't want capitalists telling them how to do it. So you know, Cuba is not perfect. The Castros aren't perfect, but in the face of overwhelming imperialism, you do the best you have to do to survive. And despite all the naysayers and all the haters, Cuba is surviving.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, and where I learned, I mean, our guest or what we've got coming up tonight, we're going to be talking about the People's Organization for Progress once we get past our small little tech issues here. And we apologize to our audience as Daryle had a bit of a computer crash just as we went live, but he's back there with duct tape and he's getting electrocuted and doing something. I don't know what's going on, but he's doing his best to join us. And we're going to be talking about the People's Organization for Progress and the Long March for Justice. Is that the correct name? Did I get that right?
Yeah, the Long March for Justice.
The Long March for Justice, man. And there he is. There's my man right there. And you know,
yeah, but I'm not in the studio the way I want to be in the studio until right this minute.
Here we go.
So, wait a minute.
You got to let Daryle in.
You guys are going to echo if you're in the same room.
Oh, we're going bye here. On this one's going.
So I'll take you out here and put you on. Oh, wait.
And we are going to do things. There we go. Now, can you hear me?
So I'll
take you out here and put you on. Oh, wait.
I'm getting an echo.
And we're going to do things. There we go. Now, can you hear me? I'm mad now. Take you out here and put you on. Oh, wait. Getting an echo. And we're going to do things.
Oh, good grief.
There we go. Now, can you hear me?
All right, I'm going to turn this down. Now, let me tell you guys what's going on right now. Okay. I am monitoring the broadcast on StreamYard, which we use, but I can't get. Oh no, I'm sorry, on YouTube, but I can't get onto StreamYard via my laptop, which means I have a connection, but the connection doesn't want to work for the broadcast.
It's a man messing with us.
It is. I'm not happy.
American Renaissance is in charge of StreamYard.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, we're going to be talking about rather check out our commercial at the end of the show about American Renaissance. So, but anyway, there's a lot that we want to talk about. We was hoping to have Larry Hamm on. Larry Hamm is the founder and spokesperson and leader of People's Organization for Progress, although he did stress today that it's not Larry Hamm and People's Organization for Progress. It's not Diana Ross and the Supremes. I mean, People's Organization for Progress, which has been around for about 30 years, fighting for justice in those streets out there, has many people representing them, actually from all over the country, but primarily here in New Jersey. And they, a matter of fact, they were one of those organizations that was part of the coalition that founded what eventually became One People's Project. So me and Larry, People's Organization for Progress go way back, and reason why we're talking about them now, and hopefully one day we'll be able to get Larry on at some point. There is, and we brought this up last week, there is a march going on from Montclair, New Jersey. It started on October 8th, and it's going to end up in Trenton, New Jersey, the state capital, on October 16th. And it's going through a number of cities, number of towns in the state of New Jersey. It's the 67-mile march. And basically what is going on is that they're calling attention to a need for a state police review board with subpoena powers. They're calling for the need for to fight voter suppression. They are calling for reparations. They're calling for free school. I mean, taxpayer-funded school, well up into college. They're calling for a livable wage because, come on, now it is getting a little stupid that it's $7 and $7.25 for minimum wage. It's corny. It's corny. We know it's corny. Crazy. So, they're all, and there's a whole host of other things that they're marching about. And I got a chance to speak. They came down here to New Brunswick. They was at the train station. They marched. I caught up with them actually in Highland Park, which is the next town over, and they had met up over at a church that opened their doors to them, and they talked a little bit. I have some video of that, and we was going to show it, but unfortunately, so what I'm going to have to end up doing is, and I wanted to do this anyway, is just edit up the video and show you exactly how things went today. I'll do that editing sometime, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, but I'm going to be busy as sin tomorrow too, so you probably won't see it until maybe Thursday or Friday. So in a nutshell, it looks like it's going to be a good march. If you guys want to, it is a good march, by the way. They're still in New Brunswick. All right. If you want to participate, if you want to see the march for yourself, they're going to be marching from here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Meet them at the New Brunswick train station here in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And they're going to march all the way down, God help their souls, to Kendall Park. That's a long march. I think we'll see if they I mean, they're going to go through my hometown of Somerset, Franklin Township, and from Kendall Park, they're going to march. They're going to stop there. They're going to stop there for the day, and then they're going to continue marching down to Princeton. Larry Hamm is an alum of Princeton, so he's going to be so that's where you're going to be able to catch up to them. And then, like I said, by Saturday they'll be in Trenton. Fortunately, you won't see me. I would have loved to have been there, but I have a day job, and I also have meetings that I have to attend. So unfortunately, I will not be able to participate in much of the march after. But we are. I'm going to talk to Larry to see if he can be on the show at some point. And it looks like we got his laptop working now. So So we're just rocking and rolling.
Are we gonna switch cameras again? We're gonna switch cameras again for you.
Phone a break.
All right, let's switch cameras again real quick for everybody here. All right. Let's see if we have sound. I do not hear you right now, though.
Hi. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
There we go. Great.
Because if push comes to shove, we got this.
I can hear you.
There we go. All right, we are back.
You don't have the cool echo that I do.
No, no cool echo. No cool echo. But got Daryle and I both in the camera here, so that works.
Great to see you guys both together. There you go. Thank you, and you got to thank bless our audience for bearing with us through these technical issues. We'll get there. We'll get there together.
Yes, it's the man. The man's trying to keep us from having this show, but
I put out the call. I'll take. I put out the call before the podcast the other day, and I put it out again. These tech issues are because we're low budget, man. We can do better. Go. It's a tax deductible contribution to One People's Project. Go to www.onepeoplesproject.com and hook a brother up, man. We can definitely, use it in better production quality, making sure that the shows, run smoother and all that kind of stuff. Plus, get better guests, get around more, get to more protests.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, we're definitely going to need your help in the next couple of months, because it's not just about trying to sustain One People's Project, Idavox, New Jersey Revolution Radio, or even this podcast. It really is about trying to make sure that everybody is well covered, is well taken care of out there that we are fighting for. So so we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But I wanted to just point out there was a lot of good people that came out locally. There was there's some young brother that was out there that was speaking that had his troubles with the police in the city in New Brunswick. Lord knows we've had problems with the police around here. We have Tormel Pittman, who was a local activist here in New Brunswick, one of the more prominent ones out there. We had also representation from the NAACP New Brunswick, and we also had National Action Network representative based out of Atlantic City, and we're going to be talking. Hopefully, we'll be talking soon with him in regards to a monument for fallen workers that includes a neo-Nazi and named Brian Bradley. We've written stories about him on Idavox. So and
we've talked about him on the show too.
Yeah, we have. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but it was good to talk to folks in Atlantic City. We was also talking about, like I said, the American Renaissance Conference, and we're going to see if we can get some more people involved with that too. I got a chance to speak, and one of the things that I had brought up, or particularly the thing that I brought up, was the fact that we're talking about police brutality, talking about police, for lack of a better term, police reform. We talked about reparations. We're talking about fighting voter suppression. And one of the things that I said we needed to start addressing as a community is this attack on our ability to teach our history. I mean, we always known that there was things coming out about our history, things that we know that our history has been suppressed in this country. Black people, Hispanic people,
working class history,
whatever, and indigenous people's history, as evidenced by what we just observed this week. And now that they cannot stop us from talking about our history, from educating people about our history, whether it is in pop culture or in the schools or whatever, now they're really going on the offensive. Last year, they was talking about we was erasing history when we were taking down Confederate monuments, which was not true. If you want to see a true picture of depiction of what it looks like when you're trying to erase history, all you got to do is take a look at how they're throwing temper tantrums at school boards all over the country for against what they call critical race theory, but is it critical race theory? And we've talked about that as well. I tweeted out not too long, probably yesterday, some Connecticut woman on a Connecticut school board member complained that if Black children were made to feel as though they belong, it will have a detrimental effect on white and conservative children. She said this out loud in front of people with microphones. And she said she had misspoken. No shit.
Yeah, they always
but it reminded me, incidentally, that somewhere in Connecticut is a former American Guard dude, 21 years old, who got onto a school board in a small town in Connecticut solely to restore the school's mascots, the school's original mascot, which guess what it was?
A rebel?
Yeah, well, no, not a rebel. Just an indigenous person that everybody, indigenous mascot that everybody's been destroying all over the country. You put some American Guard / Proud Boy on a school board, and that happens. So, so this coming up out of Connecticut is really just raising an eyebrow here. But it's telling. It tells you she basically gave away the store. So a number of people remember Paul Robeson went to Rutgers University, which is based here in New Brunswick. So there's a lot of observation of what Paul Robeson brought to this local area, and a lot of organizations here are based around that. What racists are doing in this day and age, and these past couple of weeks, to be honest, has been trying to tamp down on that kind of education. And we can't let them do that. We as a community need to start coming out against that kind of nonsense. So I'm going to be talking with a couple of some people here, probably getting them on the show at some point, and having them discuss exactly what it is we need to do to keep these idiots who are trying to do this from prevailing. They won't prevail too much here in New Jersey, but still, you know.
I'm worried about what they're doing if we let our guard down, though, man. And it seems in some ways, I think we won't. But I think I worry about the wider society under the Biden administration, where people can say, there's a Democrat in charge, so there's liberals, and that'll be fine, so everything's fine. And I think that, the I'm going to be at brunch now attitude, it worries me. While we're trying to be vigilant, there are these things happening around the country. I wanted to ask you, I know it might be a little off topic, but it's kind of what's going on. And we didn't talk about it before the show, but did anybody see what happened with John Gruden recently?
And that's important to talk about. John Gruden, the former head coach of the Raiders. Yes.
The reason why I bring it up now is because to show you that, we have to remain vigilant, and I think it's being underplayed. I watched a lot when I heard about what happened, and I try to like football. I used to be a huge football fan, but the NFL's making it real fucking hard to like them. I got to tell you, between what they did to Colin Kaepernick and what John Gruden did was not just say racist stuff. John Gruden was on email threads with other general managers and coaches, people literally with billions of dollars and tens of thousands of jobs at their fingertips, using outright racist, transphobic, homophobic comments. Just shows you that white supremacy is in very powerful places, because I think you can pass it off as just football and just the sport, but it's an economic giant machine, and
that doesn't pay
only
taxes.
The rich and powerful white people in this country get to own a team generally populated by African Americans. And for him to talk like that, man, is just
Well,
I want to like football again, man, and they won't let me. They won't let me.
Well, it's like what you said. It's more than just the remarks that he made. He basically had called for the things that was happening to Colin Kaepernick to happen to yet other NFL players. They were saying that another NFL player, he was calling for another NFL player to be fired for protesting. And people have the audacity to complain about cancel culture because he lost his job. I was dealing with that today. And it's kind of like the NFL is just showing us how much of a fight we have. And I'm noticing right now that we have that I'm getting signal on my laptop. So we're going to go to that in a minute too. I'm going to let you talk while I set that up.
Okay, no problem. We keep
going to another pick. Going to another one.
No, I don't know if Christian likes football. I mean, like, listen, Derrick Henry's on my fantasy team. It's hard for me not to like the NFL right now. Okay.
Yeah.
But because I find sports, and I like sports, man. I've always thought sports is just fun. It's clean competition. It can be seen from a capitalist point of view. Yeah. It always is. But damn it, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's the culture. Like for me, I played some sports in high school. I was never a great athlete, but I played a couple sports to stay, in decent shape. But what always turned me off was just this meathead culture that has, infiltrated sports. And I feel like it's always been that way. Now, I like combat sports. I like mixed martial arts. I like boxing. I like to watch jujitsu. But, as we've seen on past episodes of Revolution Radio, an interview I had with Sam Yang from Southpaw, is these subcultures, sports cultures, combat sports subcultures, they are ripe with right-wing thinking, this machismo, and they seep in slowly, this QAnon stuff. It's there. Sexism, homophobia, a lot of transphobia, especially with trans fighters now making names for themselves out there. It's just the athletic culture in this country is so right wing. It's a joke. And I honestly think a lot of young people and just a lot of people in general get turned off to it because they don't feel comfortable. Like I don't feel comfortable, in a situation where it's gay jokes or, in this case, we're talking billionaire owners and managers trashing black people, trashing trans people. And they're supposed to be role models. They're supposed to be leaders. And that's the myth we get since birth, is that these people are job creators and they're visionaries and they're captains of industry. And they're all this. They're just a bunch of racists. They're just a bunch of racists who follow the dollar. And it's unsurprising and it's unoriginal.
We're going to switch over to this camera.
Yeah, I was about to say, all right, so I'm going to take this off here. We're going to remove you and put you. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, my bad. I don't know. I see a whole bunch of
and we're frozen. Okay, here we are. Okay, what you just saw right now, because I wanted to show it and give us a 7-minute break to cuss ourselves out over all this. But this is we're going to show right now part of the march as they were coming up to the train station here in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and we can talk about what we see here. I don't know for sure where this ends, but there was a long speech by Larry Hamm that broke it down. I don't think that part of the if it doesn't, I'm going to put up another video. But like I said, it's an hour long. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put this all together, post it up on the One People's Project YouTube channel, which you're watching this on now, we hope. And yeah. So let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. And we're just gonna take a quick break so you guys can enjoy this and we can watch it. Here we go. Let us begin.
This is the first I'm seeing.
I'm gonna get a
little homesick watching this. I know that. I'm gonna get a little homesick. Yeah, there's New Brunswick. That's where I got arrested by that pig right there.
Let us begin with
that was
it's not starting. You might have to
started on your end. Start it up.
Okay, here we go. Oop, wait, it was. Hold on. Don't do anything, even if it takes a few seconds, because it's gonna lag here. Just for
it worked when he didn't want it to be on. You know what? I'm gonna make.
I believe in StreamYard today. Come on, StreamYard, work with me here.
Are we frozen again?
We paid our bill. Come on. I don't know.
Yeah, we're frozen. That's what the problem is. We're frozen again.
Hang on a second. I'm gonna pop this out. I'm gonna bring it back. Hang on. Here we go.
No problem.
Here we go. Let's see what happens. Christian just came back in.
We're back.
So it looks like that was a bit of a mess. Okay, so and now we're back. And,
I will fiddle with it while you guys talk about what happened. You can tell us what went down.
We're looking. So I see yours right there. There, turn that down. We're gonna do this show again. Now I'm gonna try. I want to try. Brian or Leah, rather, see if the video comes up. The video will come up at all. I don't think it will. I'm gonna take it out of the studio.
If Leah has it in her
end, like this. I mean, I'm sorry. We may just have to go ahead and just show it on YouTube.
Are you trying to show it from your computer?
For this.
Are you trying to show it from your computer or from Leah's computer?
Oh, that makes some sense here. Hold on.
Hello.
Okay, the HD webcam. So I'm looking for audio is my speakers Realtek audio, which it should be. Can you hear me, Brian?
Yes, I've been hearing you this whole time. Hey, can you hear me?
You can hear me.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, but we're getting the.
Well, we killed the mute. All right, we muted my laptop because for some reason that wasn't working right. So okay, so I guess this is killed. Oh, so we should just go ahead and
still on.
What's still on?
That one's live. We're looking at that one, not this one.
Okay, we're not looking at this one.
No, you're looking at that one.
We're looking at this one. So we're good. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Oh my God.
To which we say.
Now you're muted. You muted you. Now we can't. Nobody can hear you. Nobody can hear you though. Nobody can hear you at all. I could try to read lips, but I'm bad at it. I could do like a bad lip reading thing. I like Campbell's soup. Have you ever tried that soup right there?
Oh, you know why we can mute that. You know what?
There it is.
We didn't mute my.
I can't hear you at all.
There we go.
Try to read lips.
I had to. Okay, you know what the technical difficulty was?
I like Campbell's soup. Have you ever tried that soup right there?
Hold on.
YouTube on.
I was trying to think of something that you guys might have been saying while you were on mute.
But do you realize why we had? I muted my laptop.
I could do nothing, so I just sat here and tried to entertain myself and our audience for a few minutes. That's all.
We had some folks, Caitlin, in Asbury Park that was at the march. I throwing caution to the wind. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do this again.
Here we go.
Oh, I know why we can't do it.
Why not?
Because this is okay. I know why we have the problem. This is a GoPro. This is a GoPro file, and GoPro files are really big. Too big to be shown this way. So I actually have to go through some editing files, or rather editing software that I use regularly to make it compatible for this system.
Just to convert what do you have to just convert the file?
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm actually going to try to do that because I want to at least end the show with it.
Maybe Leah could do it. Can you convert a file in the background? I can see it. Give me a thumbs up or down.
No, I have to do it. I have to do some editing magic here. That's all. I mean, it has to come from my end. It has to come from my end.
Live show,
which is not a problem at all.
Well, I can say something to kill some time. So this weekend, I went to a really cool metal show, and there was a Revolution Radio member, a fan, a guy who always comes out to our events, Justin O'Hay, who met me out there.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
Justin.
Yeah, shout out to Justin.
Nobody invited me.
He had some
Nobody invited me.
I would have invited you, but I figured, Maine, short notice, you didn't have the couple hours to kill to come down. But next time, definitely, I'll give you a shout out and you can come. But it was a good show. It was Kill Switch Engage. And then I saw Slipknot. But I do have to say this. I prefer seeing shows at a place like Starland or the Old Birch Hill. I like PNC, but when you're outside on the lawn, you miss some of the energy. And you lose some sound quality. I would love to
have got to that show.
But it was cool. Had a couple drinks.
I always tried to get seats in the arena. I did the lawn thing a couple of times. I mean, it was just, you're right. You don't really get the lawn seats kind of suck. I never got it. Plus, it sloped. People would try. I was at Ozfest. I had lawn seats. And, people were trying to mosh pit and stuff, but it's all sloped. So everybody kept falling down. And then people below them on the hill kept getting hit. And
yeah, PNC cracks me up. I bought a beer. It was $17.
See, I don't drink
now,
and I had to do. I would have done a spit take on that one.
I know the company. Does R-Mark still run their fucking vendings with volunteers?
I don't know, but R-Mark is crooked as hell.
Holy shit, dude!
Corporation isn't.
No, R-Mark got a special kind of fucked up to him, man. So they charged $17. Now, I don't know if they still do this, but I was at a show where they had, everybody loves Justin. He's an awesome dude. And I was at a show. I go up and there was a tip jar there. And it was for the cheerleading squad for a local high school. And I noticed all the staff there had this cheerleading squad's outfit on. And I noticed the word volunteer being used. I'm like, do you guys work here? And they're like, no, we're raising money for our local high school team. We get whatever you put in the tip jar. They don't pay employees to work when they're charging you $17 for a fucking beer. They've got slaves doing it for fucking crumbs. The company's worth a gazillion dollars.
I've seen that. I saw that at I went to a ball game in Ocean County. I went to go see the Lakewood Blue Claws. And same thing. It was one of the local colleges. It might have been Ramapo or Georgian Court. I don't know. And it was the men's lacrosse team. And they were really slow at serving hot dogs and beer, but they were using the money to fundraise. And it's a shame. You can't just, some local high school cheering squad, those and cheerleaders, those girls really put their bodies on the line. It's a tough sport and people tend to laugh at them. And it's man, just pay up. Give the girls some money.
Well, then properly fund athletics in schools and don't have R-Mark making a gazillion dollars for their shareholders on sympathy for kids. It's fucking dog shit, man. It's the same stuff they do at ShopRite. Instead of paying baggers a living wage so they could raise a family and buy their kids sports equipment, they've got the team's kids working for tips bagging your groceries. Come on, man. And those used to be union jobs. And UFCW is a fucking disgrace for allowing ShopRite to do that kind of shit.
Yeah, if you go down south, a lot of the high schools, it cracks me up. Places like Louisiana, it's just not like it is up here, where it's you have your scoreboard. Local businesses will fund signs for schools. It's so ingrained in local school districts down south. That's the model that they really want everywhere. So, I wouldn't be surprised if this trend actually grew. It's unfortunate, but I
it was in Woodbridge. It was in New Jersey before I left. Woodbridge.
Well, I got to be honest with you too. I think while we're sitting up here complaining about what people never count Bank Art Center is doing.
Yeah, we ruined the Slipknot conversation.
Our remark.
My bad.
I love to see Slipknot. I would love to see Kill Switch Engage. But you know something? I would love to see them in smaller venues.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to go see. It goes back to what you were saying about the Starline Ballroom and everything like that. Because I remember when the Ritz
club shows,
when the new Ritz, I saw this show. I saw this was the lineup: Primus, a group called Young Black Teenagers, They were good, but that name fucked people up. Public Enemy and Anthrax. That was back in, I want to say, 91, 92. Anthrax had the Got the Time album at the time back then, and Primus had Sailing the Seas of Cheese. That's when the show.
Those are both those bands' best albums.
And I would say for Anthrax, not Got the Time, but I would say Odin if I fuck Sussin or something like that, or I'm the Man. But no, Among the Living, really. I would probably have to say Among the Living from Anthrax, to be honest.
Yeah. We have a different list. Persistence of Time, I think, is my favorite of all time.
Persistence of Time.
And then State of Euphoria. State of Euphoria.
What singer are we talking? Are we talking Joey Belladonna?
It's always going to be Belladonna. I love Bush, but only when he's playing with Armored Saint. I mean, he tried with Anthrax, but John Bush, it just didn't fit. You needed Belladonna. And when you see them live now, they'll kill it. They will kill it. So don't sleep on don't sleep on them. But what I'm getting at is that when I start saying small shows like that, and by the way, even Scott Ian said that during the show, because he said, look, we've had we just came back from a show over at Giant Stadium or something like that, where they didn't really have a good time. There was about 10,000 people there. It wasn't having a good time. It just didn't feel right. But then they come to a small venue like the Ritz, and like 3,000 people are just going buck wild. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't play large venues, but it just meant that particular show did not have the same, that particular show that they had at Giant Stadium did not have the same as the show.
Big. There's too much air there. You can't, the sound dissipates. It's just too big. It's meant for football. It really is. It's not a Giant Stadium or the old, I don't think I ever saw a show in the new Giant Stadium, the old Giant Stadium. I saw Paul McCartney play there. I saw a couple.
I saw the Eagles.
It was horrible.
I saw the Eagles.
It sounds like shit.
Eagles with Sheryl Crow opening up. Now, I'm not going to start the video up until we're just saying goodbye. It's going to be where we sign off. But it is going to be part of what you see on YouTube later on. So I want to just continue on with the fact that we do need to start putting our own shows back together again. We talked about this, Brian, when we first met, about putting on shows that we want to see. I mean, I'm not even talking political, although there's a good quotient of that. I miss the shows that we used to put on in small clubs. I mean, different generations now, they do different things, different ways. And I'm cool with that, but I do miss our venues. It's kind of like how when everybody abandoned their own personal websites to go to Facebook, and now we're complaining about Facebook.
Who's this asshole?
Asshole?
Is this a particular asshole that you know of, or is this just
I don't know.
What does he want? Party boy music?
Oh, he's saying all shit bands in the first one. Yo, Pills. No, we are going to talk to you.
Pills. Who are you, dude? Where'd you come from, man?
Was he from Twitch? Was he streaming?
He's from Twitch. I didn't even know we were on Twitch.
We had two fucking Twitch followers, and one of them's an ass.
When he talks about music, go over with bumps talking about music. What you got, baby?
He's listening to Ricky Martin.
What you got? Because this is just one type of music that we're listening to. I got more for you. What you got?
Earth, Wind, and Fire live, bro. Come on, I've seen them all.
Oh no, he probably still thinks we're musically illiterate, but I bet you he listens to somebody like Gigi Allen and thinks he's a fucking genius. Come on, Pills. You got about a minute before we say goodbye.
Pills, what you got? Come on, man. Educate my illiterate ass. Come on, if I'm musically illiterate, Pills, what you got?
You talk this shit, bring this shit. Come on now. You got 45 seconds.
Yeah, he's a troll.
Yeah, I know he is.
Yeah, of course he's a control.
Okay,
if he's on Twitch, that means I was making music
are you
before
talking
he
about?
was
What bands are you thinking of that we should be listening to? That you rather be talking about, since we're illiterate bums talking about
Ricky Martin. He wants Ricky Martin. What are you asking?
Yeah.
What bands you listen to? Tell me how much you like Ricky Martin, buddy.
Beatles, of course.
What are you asking?
Beatles. I mean, when you start going back then, I mean, come on, they set the standard in many ways.
John Lennon was a mediocre songwriter at best. He was also a
I won't say
bastard.
That. I will not say that about John Lennon or McCartney. Beach Boys, same
he's
thing.
a counter-revolutionary
the Beach Boys
true him
with their songwriting.
Beach Boys, I'll diss the Beach Boys.
Beach Boys.
Oh yeah.
I won't diss Beach Boys. I won't diss Beatles. But before Beach Boys, before Beatles, there's Isley Brothers.
Yeah.
There's James Brown.
Yeah.
There's Chuck Berry. There's Little Richard.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about Anthrax or Killswitch Engage. Let's talk about the Beach Boys. Let's talk about animal sounds.
You gotta do. I love you, Pills. Pills, I hope you come to every live stream.
Okay, he's leaving. We can bounce him.
Come on, Pills.
I like I'm going to miss him.
Talk about listening to music, but he likes to...
Take care, brother. It was nice to meet you, Phil. Good to see you on our chat.
It's so funny that, we can piss people off for anything. With anything. We're talking music and this guy gets mad. We're talking. I mean, I was just got through talking about, I didn't even say Defund the Police yet.
Yeah,
Defund the Police, by the way.
They're no Jimmy Buffett. We know this guy's a Jimmy Buffett fan, but not the hard stuff.
Happy Boy did get bounced.
Caitlin tuned in for a moment, came back to hear Daryle yelling.
We're done with him.
I like music with an edge, man. I like music with a message and an edge, and I like the Beatles. Like, who doesn't like the Beatles? Like, I like the Beatles, but whatever. That's fine. I like a couple of their songs. My wife and I we walk down the aisle to "Here Comes the Sun." It's a nice song. Yeah. I like the Beatles. My dad's a big Beatles fan. I grew up on the Beatles.
Yeah, we don't.
Everybody's a Beatles fan. I'm the only person.
Yeah, just because we're not talking about the Beatles and the Beach Boys and this Anthrax in the fucking process.
Anthrax is cool, man. Check out the video.
And I was talking about, and what makes it so bad is that he took me off my what I was getting ready to say. At the end of the show, Anthrax and Public Enemy came out to bring the noise, and that brought everybody out from backstage. You had Corey Glover from Living Color stage diving off the stage and everything. Everybody just went buck wild. The rest of Public Enemy came out, and Young Black Teenagers and all of them came out. And it was a seriously good show. But to be real, it's one of the reasons why I really would like to honestly start putting on shows again, and putting on real shows. So we're going to be looking for venues. We're going to be looking for things, and it is going to run the gamut when it comes to music, because I run the gamut when it comes to music. I think one of my favorite guitarists is Ani DeFranco. So, and no one really talks about Ani DeFranco's guitar work. So, I think One People's Project is in a position where we can put on, and One People's Project, for those who don't know, is the organization I founded. And we're a 501c3, and we are in the position where we can put on shows and stuff like that, that everybody can enjoy. And I'm not just really even talking about music. We were just talking about critical race theory and how they want to try to keep us from teaching our history. This is going to be a lot of fun come February. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to be a lot of fun coming the next few months, because December you got Kwanzaa, January you got Martin Luther King Day, and then February we got Black History Month. I am going to use that time wisely. So we really want to try to figure out what kind of programs can we put together that support that agenda to promote our history, because Black lives aren't the only thing that matters. Black history matters too. So you'll be seeing some stuff coming from us sometime in the near. So you know what? We're coming up on the 9 o'clock hour.
And I did say I wanted to show this video before we cut out, and yeah, the shit show over concealing Columbus Day for Indigenous Day shows the need for CRT alone.
Oh yeah.
Just
the meltdown in New Jersey.
The shit show over canceling Columbus Day for Indigenous.
Shout out to Margaret Kimberly for posting the best Christopher Columbus meme I saw, which was a picture of Christopher Columbus, and underneath said, "Everybody hates Chris."
Yes.
Oh yeah, I loved it. That was so fun.
That
I died. I'm going to remember to use that from time to time. And it was like, and also I have, if you go to the One People's Project YouTube channel, there is a video of a poem that was, that's titled "Columbus Was My Hero." And it was shot here in New Brunswick years ago. I would say about 94. It's a black and white video. It's titled, it's a Columbus Day poem. And just look for it, and you'll love it. You'll love it. It's something that I like to post every Columbus Day. The other thing that normally happens on Columbus Day is that the Nazis like to have their Leif Erikson Day celebration at a Viking statue outside on Boathouse Row in Philadelphia, but they haven't done that in recent years, probably because that statue was pulled into the river, and it has never been seen again.
You can always tell people are full of it for me, because with something like Columbus Day, like we live in New Jersey, right? We have Italian Americans everywhere in the state of New Jersey. So I would be perfectly fine changing Columbus Day to Italian American Day, right? It doesn't even have to be Indigenous Peoples Day. We could make that a different day and make Columbus Day Italian American Day. And people who aren't for that, that's them showing themselves.
I think I'd like to pick Italian American Day maybe as a different day, and because you don't have to have it on the same day, and I think all these holidays are symbolic anyway, and it's symbolic, justice. You know what I'm saying? Whereas and I don't think it does anything, by the way, as far as making reparations or doing real things for Indigenous people. I'm not going to pretend like it's anything like that, but it's a symbolic gesture to take away, a conqueror, a colonialist, whatever you want to call him, a genocidal maniac, take away his day and replace it with honoring the peoples whom were these victims, really,
And Amerigo Vespucci, I mean, I think that there was some shady stuff with him as well.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to just.
I'm not into any European settlers.
Leif Erikson and the Norsemen who came here, I honestly had a problem with that statue being destroyed because there was some, for whatever reason, either Nazis were because also the Vikings were playing the Eagles that weekend too. So Lord knows why that statue went under. But the truth of the matter is, I don't have an issue with the Norsemen who came here, because they left the land as they found it. They didn't try to colonize. Well, they did have their little colonies, but they also had fellowship for the most part with the indigenous people here when they came here, and then they left. They went back home, or if they did stay here, they assimilated.
Yeah,
has that been established historically? Can I ask? Is that even? I think there's some controversy as to whether they were really here.
Yeah, I don't know if they landed in North America proper. They were definitely in Greenland, and they did come into contact with Native Americans who they called Skraelings. But from what I understand is one of the reasons the Greenland North Society fell apart or destabilized was because they refused to ask for help from the local Native American tribes that were there, right? They brought their European technology, but they didn't necessarily know the area. They didn't know the land for farming. And as they were dying out, it was their own religious intolerance that kept them from integrating with Native Americans. I would have to look deeper into it. I don't know if they actually made it to like Canada or the Americas. I think that they made it to Greenland.
And by the way, I would point out.
I did see a special where they explored, Viking and Scandinavian type countries coming to the Americas, and they found very little in the way of evidence. And what evidence had been presented,
Well,
much of it had been debunked and said.
Well, I could tell you, and
real.
maybe we should explore this a little bit more because I always bring this up. There is a tribe in Newfoundland of indigenous people with blonde hair, blue eyes, and red skin. The Norsemen love their exotic women. They most certainly did, and which is why it should be driving neo-Nazis buck wild, because they always try to talk about how the Vikings were so pure, the Norsemen were so pure. And in truth be told, they were screwing around just as much as everybody else on this planet. By the way, if we're going to be talking about the Norsemen, I got to let y'all in on something before we head out of here. The shirt, and I'm going to let while I go to the closet and get it.
I was just going to say this. I saw this really cool shirt, and it was in favor of trans individuals who are Odinists, who still worship Norse paganism. And it just said, Odin is the all-father. He's not the some-father. Right? No matter who you are as a person, your diversity, Odin is the father of all. He's not the father of just a handful of blonde people. He's everyone's
people
father.
out there worshiping Odin, dude. Do we really have people out there? Really?
This shirt here is a shirt that we've been selling for a good while. It says "Good Night, White Pride" in Icelandic runes. This
Good
shirt,
Night, White Pride, right?
This shirt is for sale. We sell these shirts $20 over on One People's Project, but I really didn't show you that to hawk it. I showed you that to go on another rant that we don't have time for.
Go ahead.
Facebook took that shirt out of our One People's Project shop on Facebook, saying that it did not fit with their community standards. Now you know why you must have your own website. You can still get that shirt if you go to onepeoplesproject.com.
Yeah. And as we talked about last week, if a human being was even in charge of taking that shirt down, it was probably a Republican. That's what Facebook is. You know, the Republicans, the conservatives, they want to freak out about big tech and you know, the liberal control of big tech and media companies. Look, these are for-profit institutions. You know, Mark Zuckerberg is a Republican who spends his time hanging out with far-right talking heads. He is in no way a progressive. So for him, he doesn't care about, you know, Good Night, White Pride shirts being taken down. It's no sweat off his back. As we've seen, he profits off the controversy.
And we're gonna end it on that note, because we could talk all day long.
Do we have your commercial for the counter protest?
Well, here's what we're going to do. Because we did have a few technical difficulties, so I don't mind going long. But we do have to talk about Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Hi, YouTube. And why we should create our own media at some point. Why we should go back to creating our own media. And hopefully we can get some guests on to talk about that. It is time. It is time to go back to where we once came, independent of people and third parties that don't get what we're about. So in the next couple, we got a lot of guests lined up. So we don't know when I don't know when we're going to get to that, but we do have to get to that. Before we cut out, we are going to show. We are going to end. Here's how it's going to go. We're going to end the show with scenes from today and words from Larry Ham, and then we are going to and after the show is done, please stick around so you can see the minute-long video for about American Renaissance that's happening on November 12th. And shop it around, share it around, because it is on it will be on Idavox, I'm sorry, on YouTube, on the One People's Project YouTube channel, straight up. It is currently being tweeted out on the Idavox Twitter channel and on One People's Project's Twitter channel. So you can see it there as well. It's also on TikTok. I'm starting to use TikTok more. Oh yeah, and it's also on Instagram. So in any case, let me just make this quick. If y'all want to get a hold of us. Like I said, you know, the One People's Project social media networks is good, but you can also go to onepeoplesproject.com, idavox.com. You can find me on Twitter at D Lamont Jenkins. That's also where you can find me on Instagram. And like I said, go to One People's Project, donate, buy some shirts. So
help us get a solid internet connection.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get the solid internet connection. We're not.
It's been nice for me, man.
We've always had a solid internet connection. We just having problems right now. Just a few technical difficulties, but that's why you get to listen to the show a little bit more longer. Got anything?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, everyone who's interested, my TikTok is growing slowly. It's at Perez Podcast, just like my Twitter at Perez Podcast. You can find me on Facebook, Christian Perez, or Modernity and Absurdity. And if you can, please donate to the One People's Project, donate to Revolution Radio. We need your help. We don't have, Bill Gates money. We don't have Zuckerberg money. And despite all the hate, we're not getting those Soros checks. So if you can, please donate whatever you can.
And I'm on TikTok at Notorious DOJ.
There you go. And if
that's also my cash app.
I never get enough time on this show to make all my smart ass remarks, so you can follow me at NJRR_Brian. There is a lot more time there.
So without further ado, I just want to say thank everybody for coming on, for being here and bearing with us today. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Larry Ham on, but we will try to get him on sometime in the near future, because I think there's a lot that we need to talk about. Hopefully, we'll have him on next week, I'd rather. Even if we just have to pre-record the interview, but we got to get that brother on at some point.
Larry is a New Jersey.
And you're going to hear him.
Legend.
You're going to hear him speak and understand exactly why it is I need to have him on. In any case, without further ado, thank you everybody for watching. We're gonna let the march on Trenton take us out. Peace, y'all.
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Yeah. Hey, tonight. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Come on. Hey, tonight. People stand up. People stand up. Hey, tonight. Yes, Tony. When I say Larry, you say Ham. Larry. Ham. Larry. Ham. When I say Larry, you say Ham. Larry. Ham. Larry. Ham. Larry. Ham. Larry. Ham. Larry. Ham.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ham.
Power to the people.
All power to the people.
Power to the people.
All power to the people.
Power to the people.
Power to the people.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
We want police review boards with what?
Subpoena power.
What do we want?
Subpoena power.
What do we want? Police review boards.
Police Review Board, subpoena power.
We want Police Review Board. With what?
Subpoena power.
What do we want? Police Review Board. With what?
Subpoena power.
What do we want? Police Review Board. With what?
Subpoena power.
What do we want? Police Review Board. With what?
Subpoena power.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. Let's give our brother Tormel that brought us across the bridge with his inspiration. Today is the 5th day of the Long March for Justice. The march to Trenton for police accountability, social justice, and economic progress. We are marching from Montclair to Trenton, 67 miles, and today, this point marks 37 miles. So give the folks that made these 37 miles. We got 30 to go. And we will meet here at this spot tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. We're going to march from here to Kendall Park. And then on Thursday, we're going to march from Kendall Park to Princeton University. And then on Friday, we're going to march from Princeton University to Lawrenceville. And then on Saturday, we're going to march from Lawrenceville to Trenton. To Trenton. For the finish line rally. Why are we marching? We're marching because we want to draw attention to the issue of police brutality. Despite the fact that it has disappeared from the headlines, does not mean that it has disappeared from our community. Police brutality is still a reality of everyday life in our community. And we speak with outrage today at the refusal of the Justice Department to indict the officer that killed Jacob Blake, shot him 7 times in the back. So we're here today to demand justice for all the victims. The struggle for George Floyd is not over. Chauvin is appealing the guilty verdict. Chauvin has to do another trial for killing somebody else. And he has to do a 3rd trial because he's been charged by the Justice Department for violating George Floyd's civil rights. So the struggle for justice for George Floyd is nowhere over. And the struggle for justice for Breonna Taylor hasn't even begun. We condemn the authorities in the state of Kentucky for failure 2 years after the brutal murder of Breonna Taylor in her own apartment. Nobody has yet been indicted for the murder of Breonna Taylor, and we say that is a disgrace, and we're not gonna stop. We're not gonna let the murder of that black woman be swept under the rug. We're going to stand up and continue to fight until we get justice for Breonna Taylor. So we're marching today for a police review board for 60 years. Not only in Newark, if you know the history of New Jersey, you know that there was a rebellion in every major city, not just Newark, New Jersey. In fact, Newark wasn't even the first. Jersey City was the first uprising in the 1960s. All the 27 major urban areas had rebellions. And all of those rebellions were triggered by incidents of police brutality. And after all of the rebellions, what did the people demand? They demanded a police review board. Don't we have any police review boards in New Jersey with subpoena power? Because as we demand to have these things, the organizations of the police, the Fraternal Order of Police, and the PBA have gone into the courts and gone into the legislature to stop the establishment, the ability of any municipality to establish a police review board. For 60 years in Newark, we demanded this. And then Ross Baraka was elected. And then he established the police review board with subpoena power. And what happened? Lodge number 12, headquartered on Rector Street in Newark, New Jersey, went into Superior Court and filed an injunction to stop the city of Newark from establishing a police review board with subpoena power. And the city appealed and won the appeal, but the FOP wouldn't stop. They fought it all the way up to the state Supreme Court. And the state Supreme Court said, yeah, Newark could have a police review board, but only the state legislature can give it subpoena power. So Sister Angela McKnight, Assemblywoman out of Jersey City, introduced Bill A4656 S2963 that would enable to say we demand the passage of the police review board with subpoena power bill. That's what we want. And we want it now. And we are fighting for other reforms. We want police disciplinary records to be made public so that a city won't hire a cop that has killed people in another city. Do you know that the cop that killed Tamir Rice literally, I'm not making this up, literally went down the road, like within walking distance road, and joined the police force of the next town?
It's called the American Renaissance Conference, and according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, it's an extremist group that promotes the studies and research to show the inferiority of blacks to whites.